चाचू बना दे.
Yes, please. Saying something.
Good evening.
Anybody saying something? To resume for cargo work, in our last class, what we held was we were discussing regarding note of protest, letter of protest, and now to continue. So, do you recall what is the difference between note of protest and letter of protest? Can you recall? We had talked about it. One document or one is note of protest, NOP, November Oscar Papa, NOP. And another way is letter of protest, LOP, Lima Oscar Papa. Do you remember the difference or what it means, both of them?
सर एक बार दोबारा बता दो.
हैं? अच्छा, एक बार दोबारा.
हाँ सर, एक बार दोबारा.
नहीं, वो तो ठीक है. देखो, अगर तुम कहोगे तो दोबारा करेंगे, लेकिन आई वॉन्ट टू नो कि उसमें कुछ भी तुमको याद नहीं, या यू डिड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड एनीथिंग, देन देयर इज प्रॉब्लम विद मी, नॉट यू. अगर कुछ भी याद नहीं है तो वी हैड टॉक फॉर सम टाइम रिगार्डिंग नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट, हाउ इट इज डन, नोटराइज पब्लिक, व्हेन इट इज डन, एंड लेटर ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट. उसमें कुछ भी याद नहीं है आपको. ओके, ठीक है. सिंस यू वांट इट रिपीटेड, I can't help it. We will start again. This is as per syllabus only. Note of protest क्या है? Note of protest is something which happens when you are not holding anybody responsible, but there is some unforeseen circumstances beyond the control of the vessel or the master, which leads to or which can lead to damage of cargo and ship or both. Mark the words, the damage has yet not occurred, maybe not yet occurred, but can lead to it. Fearing damage to ship, cargo, or both, you are noting a protest. This is against nobody, it is against circumstances which are beyond the control of the vessel. This is meant only for insurance purpose, so that you can prove that for the ship owner's interest, it can be shown that things were beyond the control of the vessel, for example, heavy weather, and this damage could have been done due to heavy weather. So this is a protest we are noting down in a notarized public, which is called note of protest. In which case, the insurance is to a certain extent liable for covering that damage done. Right? Do you get NOB? In short, have you understood that? What I am talking? Note of protest?
Yes.
Okay.
सर ये भेजना किसको होगा?
ये किसी को भेजना नहीं है. क्या हो रहा है कि नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट में the method used is that you collect all the evidence. What you are saying, to support that, to substantiate that, you collect all the evidence. Let us say you are talking of heavy weather damage, you are fearing heavy weather damage. So for heavy weather damage, what evidence you should have, even without going into the intricacies? As a officer, you must have seen, if you are saying that some damage has been done due to heavy weather, then how can you substantiate that, or how can you support that with evidence? What kind of evidence? To support that, to support this, what evidence can you produce? This is could be due to heavy weather. So you need to prove it, na, कि heavy weather damage है. Heavy weather damage से हो सकता है.
वेदर वार्निंग्स वगैरह दे सकते हैं.
Sorry.
सर वेदर फोरकास्ट वगैरह के डिटेल्स.
Weather forecast for the area you are transferring, weather forecast for the voyage you are doing, EGC messages which you are receiving for the weather. If you are close to land, NAVTEX messages. If you are being routed, weather routed by some authorized or approved weather routing company, unke messages, WNI for example. And very importantly, photographs of the weather. Then, along with this is not the end of the story. You need to substantiate very clearly, very expensively. So what you will do is, you will take the abstracts of your logbook, deck logbook, the notings you have made in the deck logbook, the wind force, etc., which you are logging down in support of your saying, in support of the statement of facts, which is NOP, which is note of protest. You, in support of that, you will collect all these evidences and also maybe engine room logbook, possible. Engine room
Yes.
logbook should be possible to be substantiated as evidence.
Yes, sir. Possible.
Yeah, because
Yes, sir.
one of the first things, if you will agree with me, in heavy weather, especially when you're encountering weather from ahead, from bows, what the first thing you do is to reduce speed, to reduce RPM, to counter that, to minimize damage, right? When you reduce RPM or when you bring down the RPM, the engine room logbook also shows that. They will write it down, they will note it down in the logbook. Engine room logbook, they will note it down. RPM reduced to, let us say, it was 105 to start with, full RPM, and they will note it down that RPM reduced to 93, 90 as per the instruction. And maybe they will add due to heavy weather. So that abstract will also be there as evidence. You are substantiating that engine room also reduced RPM due to heavy weather. Now you make a statement of fact. You write a clear outline of the statement of fact that on this date, the vessel departed, just hypothetically example, the port of Vancouver, British Columbia, cross-Pacific voyage. Let us say it was done on 24 July 2021. Drop of last sea pilot, port Vancouver, which is the pilot of the Vancouver pilots. You drop the pilot, you log it down. Of course, it is there in your logbook. You are making a statement of fact. Vessel in transit through Juan de Fuca Straits. Have you ever been there in this place so that you can relate to what I'm trying to say? Just as an example,
No, sir.
not there. Okay, never mind. Have you sorry,
सर गए हैं उधर.
गए हैं, आप गए हैं, very good. So you can try to correlate what I'm saying. Port Victoria pilots, if I'm not mistaken, the pilot station for Vancouver, BC, Port Victoria,
Yes, sir.
right? So you log it down. Drop of last sea pilot Port Victoria at so and so time. Let us say on 24th July 2021 at 1500 hours. आपने drop कर दिया pilot. This is going as a statement of fact. Then you say that you are transiting Strait of Juan de Fuca. You exit Juan de Fuca, Boy Juliet at let us say 1600. नहीं थोड़ा जल्दी हो गया 1630. Then you also log down in that deck logbook RFA, means revolutions full away, CRPM at 1700. तो आप full speed पे आ गए. All this is going as statement of fact from your deck logbook in the notary public. उसके बाद आप लिख रहे हैं that then you start logging down that vessel started to experience heavy weather, wind force 6-7, increasing to 8, gust to 8 from starboard bow or whatever, and then you say substantiated by photographic evidence. Now you keep logging down all the heavy weather things which you think is going to make you safe, in the sense that this is going to prove that you did experience heavy weather, which is what you are declaring. So then engine room abstract, engine room logbook, उसने भी लिखा है कहीं पे that RPM was reduced. वो सारी चीज जो है आप collect कर रहे हैं as evidence, and then you make a performa on the approved form of SMS, which talks about note of protest. Every SMS, almost every SMS, standard companies have got a pre-performa for logging down NOP, note of protest. उसको आप भरेंगे, उसके साथ ये सारी चीज़ अटैच करेंगे, all the evidence, including photographs. You will make a file. On the file cover, you are writing NOP, note of protest, arrival port Yokohama, voyage Vancouver BC to Yokohama, voyage number so and so, डेट डाल दोगे उस पर कवर के ऊपर, और ये सारी चीज आप अटैच करोगे एंड देन यू विल फॉरवर्ड इट आइदर योरसेल्फ, व्हिच इज द राइट थिंग टू द नोटरी पब्लिक इन योकोहामा. उसमें एक लाइन लिखी होगी लास्ट में इन दैट नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट दैट ड्यू टू द अबव सर्कमस्टांसेस ऑफ हैवी वेदर ड्यूरिंग द वॉयज सो एंड सो, वॉयज नंबर 52 समथिंग, I, as master of this vessel MV so and so, fear damage to have been caused to hull and cargo during this transit. Hence, we note protest against this damage which could have been done. You have not cited the damage, please note. You are just saying that damage which could have been done due to this heavy weather. And last line of that note of protest will be vessel reserves the right to extend this protest at any convenient given later date. Signed and stamped. And you submit this to the notary public. Notary public views the whole thing. Now what the notary public is doing is only they are authorizing, they are authorized, they do what? They stamp and say that all evidence cited in original. They agree to whatever has been given to them. They have cited it in original, they notarize it, and this is the note of protest, which now you send to all the concerned parties. Since we are talking of heavy weather damage, we are talking of damage which could have been done due to heavy weather for ship and cargo. Concerned parties आपके ख्याल से कौन सी होंगी? Which will be the concerned parties to whom you will send this NOP?
Charter owner.
Okay,
Port
charterer owner.
authority.
Sorry, charterer owner. Next,
Port authority, sir.
port authority.
Agent.
Agent. Okay.
Sir,
What about the cargo receivers?
Charterer, owner, receiver, agent.
Brokers. Shipper.
Shipper, receiver, everybody who is involved. And also, as per the guidelines set in your SMS, the SMS will contain, in a case of NOP, किस किस को भेजना है. So you will follow that. So let us keep it short and say the same NOP registered with the notary public in Yokohama, in our example, will be extended to all the concerned parties as listed in the SMS. तुम सबको भेजो ये. And of course, goes without saying that you will retain a copy on board for your reference. तो जितना भी आपका एविडेंस है, which will include EGC messages, weather reports, weather routing messages, सबको आप जेरोक्स करोगे और उसको भेजोगे नोटरी पब्लिक में, ओरिजिनल को उसको दोगे साथ में ताकि वेरीफाई कर ले. फिर वो उसको नोट करके प्रोटेस्ट को आपको वापस कर देगा. क्या? स्टैम्प एंड स्टैम्प बाय नोटरी पब्लिक. Now you keep a copy on board and extend to everyone who is concerned with it as per your SMS. This is note of protest.
सर ये नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट टैंकर में भी जाता है?
जा सकता है, जा सकता है, क्यों नहीं जा सकता? Tell me. We are looking at a case as a scenario where heavy weather could have caused damage to the hull. टैंकर पे भी डैमेज हो सकता है due to heavy weather.
जी सर.
That is not an issue. I mean, nobody is restricted कि ये सिर्फ बल्क कैरियर पे होगा, कंटेनर पे होगा, ऐसा नहीं है. This is for any ship which feels that some damage would have been caused due to heavy weather. This is only example, gentlemen. Please believe. This is only an example, heavy weather. So, इस केस में कोई भी vessel हो which fears damage done to the vessel or the cargo or both due to heavy weather will note a protest and will extend it to anybody who is interested in the voyage. And of course, definitely the insurance company who has done an insurance cover, because they are the ones who will actually pay in case there is a damage resulted. ये सिर्फ fearing damage है. It might happen that damage is cited later on. Then of course the insurance company is involved. That is as far as NOP is concerned, note of protest. Are we good with that, or do we need to discuss more about it? Because we did this part, but you said to repeat it. So having repeated it, I want to confirm that you have got into it, or you still want some more information. Then you need to raise anything what you feel.
Sir, this is a kind of legal document. Once it is sent, it is completely a legal document. Suppose we are in ballast, then there is no cargo or anything.
Okay.
So it will only go to the company and owner or agent or insurance.
Yeah. Ballast में हो, so cargo नहीं है. So now you are fearing damage only to hull and
और सर
machinery.
जो कंपनी ने जो अपने बना रखे हैं फॉर्मेट, जैसे नॉन रूटीन जाता है या इंसिडेंट रिपोर्ट या जो जाती हैं, तो अगर कोई हैवी वेदर डैमेज होता है, सो आई हैव सीन सेंडिंग दिस नॉन रूटीन रिपोर्ट फॉर माइनर डैमेज.
वैभव सिंह चौहान.
यस सर.
ओके. एंग्लो ईस्टर्न में काम कर रहे हैं क्या आप?
यस सर.
दिख रहा है. कैसे पहचाना मैंने?
हाँ
मैं तो
सर,
नहीं
वो
जानता. है?
टाइप ऑफ रिपोर्ट.
सर यहाँ पे
नहीं, आपने एक वर्ड यूज किया था जिससे मैं पहचान गया. नॉन रूटीन मैसेज.
यस सर.
इसलिए ठीक है. एनीवे, डजंट मेक अ मैटर.
सर
इट
एक
डजंट
फर्स्ट अलर्ट
कंसर्न मी.
नोटिफिकेशन भी जाता होता है सर.
सॉरी.
सर फर्स्ट अलर्ट नोटिफिकेशन भी जाती है सर.
Okay. Now see, the method may be different from company to
ओके
company.
सर.
That is not vital at all. You will only follow your company SMS. So that may be different from one company to other. It is not a
ओके.
concern at all. You will follow your company SMS. But what I'm saying is that reverting back to most what Mr. Vaibhav Singh is saying, this can happen on any vessel. See, heavy weather is going to cause damage, or let me say, could cause damage to hull also and machinery also. So, in that case, you note protest. Even though you are on ballast, that you sailed out from this port at so and so time, you dropped your pilot at so and so time, you started your voyage RFA so and so time, and then you started experiencing heavy weather as per the attached weather log or abstract. पूरी चीज नथी कर दो, attach it, attach photographs, and then you say that you fear damage to the hull or machinery. Cargo नहीं है, no problem. So it is not
ओके
restricted.
सर.
But what I mean to say
अंडरस्टूड.
is, I'm coming to the discussion. What is the difference between NOP, note of protest, and letter of protest? So note of protest, अगर आप समझ गए, then we go ahead.
सर समझ गए.
Okay. Now then, coming to letter of protest, what is that? Letter of protest. The basic difference is, as we said, the note of protest does not address anybody. NOP is not holding anybody responsible. NOP is only saying that you fear damage due to certain cases, certain circumstances, maybe heavy weather along the voyage, and this is meant as an insurance cover because heavy weather is covered as a peril of the sea for which you are insured. That is note of protest. On the other hand, letter of protest, you are holding some party accountable for any damage. That is not whom it may concern thing. It is holding one party responsible for any damage which you feel has been done for any consequence. Letter of protest. Or could have a consequence later on. For example, we had talked about it, we need to repeat. Let us say that you have loaded certain cargo. You have loaded cargo, and by shore figure, the figure given out loaded cargo is 37,000 tons. This much cargo has been loaded as per the weighing scale ashore, or the scale fitted underneath the conveyor belt, that you have loaded 37,000 tons of cargo. Now, when you carry out a draft survey on board, along with the SGS surveyor, maybe a charterer surveyor, a owner surveyor, you find out that actually the cargo loaded is 36,800 tons. Not 37,000, it is 36,800 tons. 200 tons less than what is being declared by the shore figure. In which case, you will give a letter of protest to the terminal or the charterer that actually the shore figure is 37,000 tons, but by carrying out a draft survey, Messrs. So and so, along with Messrs. So and so, which may be the cargo surveyor or the owner surveyor, you have come to the conclusion by draft survey that the cargo loaded is actually only 36,800. Hence, please accept this letter of protest for short loading. This is letter of protest. And also note, you continue that letter of protest, and also note, notwithstanding this letter of protest, any consequences resulting for this short loading will be having a direct consequence to you as the cargo owner or the charterer. And vessel is absolved. Vessel will not be responsible for any consequences due to the short loading of the cargo. Sign and stamp, and I'll tell him to accept it also. This is letter of protest. This is only one example. When you work on tankers, which you are all well familiar, then you have a manifold. टैंकर पे आपका ऑयल मैनिफोल्ड है जिसमें प्रेशर एग्रीड अपॉन है कि दिस मच प्रेशर विल बी डन टू लोड और डिस्चार्ज कार्गो ऑयल टैंक व्हाटएवर, राइट? एग्रीड प्रेशर ऑफ द manifold. If this is not followed, if the agreed pressure or the agreed rate of pumping or pumping out is not followed, again it will be accompanied by a letter of protest, LOP. So the basic difference, while NOP, November Oscar Papa, does not hold any particular party responsible and only citing unforeseen circumstances or circumstances beyond the control of the vessel as maybe the cause of the damage, LOP, Lima Oscar Papa, is holding one accountable party and holding them responsible for any consequences later on. This is the difference. This is the difference between the two. Anji, tell me, or you're thinking, no problem, I can give you a minute to digest this, to think about it. We are good? Just one thing you will need to remember for this, although not really important at phase 1 level, but you will need to remember it because this topic will not close till ASM. Note of protest is something, as we discuss, extraordinary events which can lead to damage. But this has to be done between 24 hours after having arrived at the port, not more than that. Also, if it is talking of cargo, then the cargo should not have been started to load or discharge, then only you can note protest. If the cargo has already been started to discharge, then this will lose importance. Then we are not sure whether the damage occurred during the voyage. So before breaking bulk, if you understand the term breaking bulk or to start discharge, you should note protest if you are planning on that. This is actually very important to understand that note of protest will only contain facts or statement of facts. It is not a story. It is not supposed to be a story. You can only relate this as a statement of fact.
सर नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट में वेदर के अलावा और भी एग्जांपल बताइए.
Let us limit ourselves to weather only because we are talking of cargo damages in cargo work, right? But there are many examples. For example, if your berth is not safe, the jetty itself assigned to you by charter is not safe, you can have a note of protest done. Many examples are there, but we will limit ourselves for the purpose of phase 1 cargo work as a heavy weather thing because this is what concerns us for damage to cargo and maybe vessel. अब अगर आपने और भी देखना है, you still want to be interested, can you see the share screen?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is another example. Some more examples. It is possible that you may be instructed by the owner himself that you need to note a protest for some reason. Then you have to do an NOP at that time. Experience heavy weather, we have talked about. Vessel is already damaged. Further damage can be caused. Note of protest. Due to circumstances beyond the control of master, ventilation of the cargo not carried out, you can have a NOP done. ये अच्छा example है cargo work also. Due to circumstances beyond the control of the master, ventilation of the cargo as required by MSD is not done, was not carried out due to circumstances beyond the control of the vessel or master, then of course again NOP can be done. right? Somebody wanted to see more examples, so we'll give it a minute or so, no problem. Cargo which is shipped is in that condition which is likely to be damaged during the voyage. Then this can also call for note of protest. Then this of course will not concern you a lot at this level when charterers or the agents have committed a serious breach of the terms of charter party, which includes undue delays. Then also NOP can figure. If the consignee fails to discharge cargo or take delivery, then also NOP can figure. This, of course, you see, this you will follow only at phase 2 level, following a General Average Act. I don't think you know this, but no problem. Are you aware of this term called General Average Act?
No, sir.
Okay, no problem. You're not expected to know because this is a phase 2 thing. General Average Act is actually a sacrifice, intentional expenditure made in case of emergency by one party involved in the voyage to benefit all other parties. So one party who was sacrificed or who has been caused a loss is made up for that loss by all other parties who have benefited from the sacrifice. Is general average. So in case General Average Act has been declared during this voyage, then NOP has to be done on the first port of arrival, is what I'm saying. Which again, you see, just hear and forget it because it will not concern you at this level. Then, of course, extension of protest we have talked about. Reserve the right to extend the protest at a time and place convenient is something which is done, which is noted at every note of protest so that at any case, अगर बाद में कोई damage observe हुआ तो you can still extend the same protest you had lost at the first port of arrival. Okay, this was NOP and LOP. Let's go now on bill of lading. We had stopped discussing that bill of lading. So this is also part of your syllabus, but of course only surface navigation. You're not supposed to know very detailed thing about bill of lading, but never mind. थोड़ा इसको surface navigation इसकी कर लेते हैं bill of lading. Now this is a legal document between the shipper of a particular cargo and the carrier, which is the vessel owner. Detailing the bill of lading is detailing the type, quantity, and destination of the cargo being carried. That is a legal document. इसमें सारा डिस्क्रिप्शन आ जाता है of the cargo being carried, destination of the cargo being carried, the type, quantity, etc. सब कुछ bill of lading में कैप्चर हो जाता है. As a definition of bill of lading, legal document between the shipper of a particular cargo and the carrier, which gives the type, quantity, destination of the cargo being carried. Right? We continue. Now, one thing which you have to remember is this purpose of bill of lading. This is generic. This will stay with you till ASM. This you have to memorize. The purpose of bill of lading. This will not change whether it is phase 1, phase 2 or ASM. This will not change. Three purposes of bill of lading. One, first purpose, it is a receipt of cargo on board. See, when you have cargo on board, bill of lading तभी issue होता है. So if the bill of lading is a contract is signed by the shipper and the cargo and the ship owner, it means that cargo has been received on board. So it is a receipt of cargo on board. Why has the cargo been put on board? Because there is a contract of carriage. That is why the cargo is there on this vessel. So it gives an evidence of the contract of carriage. Number 2 purpose. Number 3, it serves as a document of title, which means it serves as a document of title means who is the owner of that cargo. Whoever possesses the bill of lading is the owner, is the document holder, the title of the cargo. 3 purposes of bill of lading. Kindly note it down, keep it in mind, whatever you want to do. Purpose of bill of lading. This has been asked as a part question, छोटा question. Right, we move on. Now, of course, these are the purpose of bill of lading. ये तो हर bill of lading के साथ लगेगा. Three purposes of bill of lading, but there are many types of bill of lading. That is something different. First of all, we are looking at the purpose, legal document between the shipper of particular good, carrier, and then purpose is this one. Let me see if I can do it in chat box. Otherwise, आपको उसमें पास कर ही देंगे लिंक पे. Yeah, never mind. Mostly you are now remembering this legal document, receipt of goods on board, evidence of contract, and document of title. Right? Now we go further. This is the purpose. Then contents. It will contain the name of the receiver, consignee, you know, any particular order or the postal order, special account number, everything is contained in the bill of lading. Date of shipment, number of shipping units, packaging, cartons, pallets, etc., and commodity. This is all contained in the bill of lading. Also, the weight of the shipment. Normally, the bill of lading will say the weight said to be, means weight said to be, let us say 20,000 tons. It's said to be, because still to be confirmed by a draft survey, etc. Then there are different types of bill of lading. You need not go into details, but what you need to do is just note down the titles. If asked, then you should be able to example. You should be able to give for different types of bill of lading, which is like this. EBL is now the in thing, electronic bill of lading. Serves as the bill of lading, but electronically transmitted. It has the same purpose as the paper bill of lading, but it is electronically generated and no signature required kind of a thing. Then this is one type EBL. It is coming as a you know fast evolving thing. Paper BLs are being done away with. Mostly now EBLs are taking place. So there are different types. One is a clean BL, which means no remarks on it. अच्छा एक चीज है before we go into it. See the Mates Receipt. You must have seen on board also. The Mates Receipt is possible to clause. The chief officer who's signing it can put a clause there. Mates Receipt. Whatever remarks are there on the Mates Receipt by law, the same remarks have to go on the bill of lading. But if there are no remarks, then it is called a clean BL. So when we say types of bill of lading is, then one is clean BL, clean bill of lading, without any remarks. Then MTT, multimodal transport bill of lading, which means it is one bill of lading for different types of transport used, at least two, which could be land or ocean. This is called multimodal. If the cargo has arrived at the port and is clear to be loaded, then it is called, the bill of lading issued is called the received bill of lading. Shipped on board, when the cargo is already there on board, then it is called shipped on board, which will follow received bill of lading. Need not go into too much detail, but you should know the names, just in case something figures. Now, what is the difference? This question has been asked. What is the difference between Mates Receipt and bill of lading? For which purpose you have to understand that what is Mates Receipt? Mates Receipt is simply an evidence that a shipment has been taken care of, has been done. It is a document which can be called interim measure till the issuing of proper bill of lading. So it just covers until a proper BL has been issued. Mates Receipt. It cannot serve as bill of lading. Please remember, it is only an interim document till proper BL has been issued. You get this point?
सर
ये
अभी तक
मेट्स
सर
रिसिप्ट का ही का जो लिस्ट होती है, इसी में सारा मेंशन रहता है ना सर, सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ क्वालिटी, सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ क्वांटिटी, ओरिजिन एंड
किसमें
एवरीथिंग।
किसमें
सर मेट्स रिसिप्ट जो मिलता है, जो इसका डॉक्यूमेंट मिलता है, तो सारा इसी में इंक्लूड होता है ना कार्गो।
पहली चीज
जो
ये
भी
है
इसके
जेंटलमैन, पहली चीज ये है मेट्स रिसीट मिलती नहीं है। मेट्स रिसीट आप इशू करते हैं एसजी भाव से।
हाँ
यू इशू
सर,
द
सर
मेट्स
मेरे
रिसीट।
रिसिप्ट सर देखी नहीं है सर, बिल ऑफ लेडिंग देखी है, वो भी कभी कभी इंटरम आती है।
हाँ
मतलब जैसे कभी कार्गो लोड होने के बाद एक्चुअल बिल नहीं आया तो इसकी अप्रोक्सीमेट सी वो बन के आती है, जिस पे ड्राफ्टेड कॉपी लिखा रहता है,
ओके।
और फाइनल एक लेटर आती है। मैं सिर्फ सर देखी नहीं सर।
हाँ हाँ ठीक है। हम आप क्या पूछ रहे हैं, आपका क्वेश्चन क्या है ये मैं समझ गया, आपने देखा नहीं है।
सर
इज दैट
नॉर्मली
द
मेट्स
पॉइंट?
रिसिप्ट एजेंट ने इशू करी है, जो भी मैंने
हाँ ठीक
देखी
है
है।
ठीक है ठीक है। वो क्या है कि प्रिपरेशन हो रही है। मेट्स रिसीट क्या है? इट इज अ इंटरिम डॉक्यूमेंट, ये समझिए आप। इट इज नॉट अ बिल ऑफ lading, इट इज नॉट अ टाइटल, बट इट इज टेकिंग केयर until a proper bill of lading has been issued. It is just an interim measure, stop gap arrangement. अब इसमें एक ही चीज है कि मेट्स रिसीट में when mates receipt is being signed by you as officer or chief officer, then anything you cite on the cargo, let us say brake bulb, you see torn outer covers of the cargo, outer covers हैं cargo के, वो torn है, then you put that remark on the mates receipt, outer cover torn, ऐसा लिखोगे आप mates receipt पे।
सर सर अब ये मेट रिसिप्ट कितने फ्रीक्वेंटली जहाज लाइक देता है, लाइक हर हर जगह देनी जरूरी होती है या सिर्फ जब रिक्वायरमेंट हो तब?
First of all, it is a thing which will be agreed upon by the shipper and the ship owner. This is not something you decide as officer. So
बिकॉज
they
सर
will decide whether the mates receipt has to be issued for this cargo or not. नंबर वन।
क्योंकि सर
नंबर
अभी तक जैसे शिप
नंबर
के
टू
ना,
नंबर टू सुनते जाओ, पहले पहले सुन लो फिर बात करना। नंबर टू, how much, how many mates receipt are required will depend on the shipper, whether he wants mates receipt for each cargo, whether he wants for each delivery of the cargo, whether he can do with a generic lump sum mates receipt, वो भी वही डिसाइड करेगा। accordingly the mates receipt will be prepared. आप बोलिए।
हाँ नहीं सर, मैं वही कह रहा था कि लाइक हमने अभी तक देखा नहीं कि जब मेट रिसिप्ट इशू किया हो हमने शिप से ना, ये चीफ ऑफिसर ने कभी।
किस टाइप के कार शिप में काम कर रहे थे आप?
सर ऑयल केमिकल पे भी किया है सर, वीएलसीसी पे भी किया है सर।
Okay, okay. Now what is going to happen is This is very vital. Mates receipt is very vital when you work on a bulk carrier or break bulk general cargo, because इसके ऊपर सारी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन बेसिस होती है.
तो बल्क कैरियर पे देखिए सर, बल्क कैरियर पे देखिए सर, टैंकर पे नहीं देखी.
नहीं देखा? क्या कह रहे हैं? बल्क कैरियर पे क्यों होता है?
बल्क कैरियर में देखा है शायद.
देखा है ना? हाँ,
हाँ,
ठीक है.
टैंकर पे नहीं देखा सर.
ओके, नेवर माइंड, नेवर माइंड. ये देखो एग्जांपल. एक मिनट, जस्ट गिव मी अ मिनट. ये वाला, इसको देखो जरा. Just see the remarks captured or the title. Means के Mates Recipt क्या बोल रहा है. First of all, it is a Mates Recipt for so and so vessel, MVUBC Sydney. ये vessel का नाम हो गया. Received, ये बहुत important point है. Received this day, which is this one, in apparent good order and condition. क्या रिसीव किया है? क्या रिसीव किया है? Yellow corn. How much? 30,350.095 tons, metric tons. This has been received. अब इसमें कुछ रिमार्क्स हैं जो आपको ध्यान देने हैं, which is very normal thing. First of all, where it has been loaded, holds number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. How much? We have said by metric tons 30,350.095. पर रिमार्क्स जो देखने वाले हैं वो एक ही है, क्वालिटी एंड क्वांटिटी अननोन. ये लिखा हुआ है उसमें, क्वालिटी एंड क्वांटिटी अननोन. और another remark instead of this could be quality and quantity said to be. मतलब जो बोला गया है वही है, क्योंकि एक्चुअली देखा जाए तो येलो कौन है. ओके ठीक है, आप तो कौन में डील नहीं करते हो. यू आर जस्ट चीफ ऑफिसर ऑफ वेसल, मे बी यूबीसी सिडनी के वैसे आप चीफ ऑफिसर हैं. सो इफ इट इज सेड कि येलो कौन है, यू विल बिलीव इट कि येलो कौन है. सो क्वालिटी एंड क्वांटिटी सेड टू बी.
तो सर क्वांटिटी तो मेंशन किया ना इतने टन.
नहीं, इसमें भी प्रॉब्लम आती है. ऐसा है, दिस इज ऑल्सो सेड टू बी because still to be confirmed by draft survey. We don't know this quantity is coming from the shore figure or draft survey. In which case we say, अगर ऐसा लिख रहे हैं आप, तो इसके आगे एक और रिमार्क आएगा 30,350.0.
हमने
तो ले भाई, सुन तो ले मेरी भाई, सुन तो ले, फिर बोलियो ना. अगर ये लिखा है 30,350.095 metric tons and you write over here by shore figure, and then you say 30,350 or 30,250.000 metric tons by draft survey. तो ये दोनों क्वांटिटी मेंशन होंगी.
तो ये तो सर हमने इशू की है ना, यहाँ पे तो हमें लिखना है ना.
हाँ तो लिखो. Who is stopping you?
तो फिर ये क्यों नहीं लिखा? तो ये तो पता है भी.
अरे यार तुम लोग यार, ये क्या बात बनी यार. मैं तुमको एक एग्जांपल दिखा रहा हूँ.
नहीं, मैं पूछ रहा हूँ सर आपसे कि ये सही है कि प्रोसीजर करेक्ट है कि नहीं. मैं एग्जांपल ही मैं पूछ रहा हूँ.
यही आपको पूछ रहे हैं जो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि प्रोसीजर कैन बी दिस एंड यू राइट दिस क्वांटिटी एंड से बाय शोर फिगर. एंड ऑफ
तो
स्टोरी.
मैं वही तो सर आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ इसी के रिगार्डिंग कि ऐसे.
सुन तो ले फिर. अगर ये लिख दो बाय शोर फिगर और यू राइट दिस फिगर एंड अनदर फिगर बाय ड्राफ्ट सर्वे, बोथ थिंग कैन बी डन. इन विच केस अगर इन दोनों में फर्क है, देन एज वी डिस्कस यू विल गिव अ लेटर ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट. डिस्क्रिपेंसी इन फिगर्स. Now, it is not so easy because maybe your charterer will not agree with it. Maybe he will say that he disagrees with the quantity here. So this thing will have to be cancelled out. Because one thing which may be not there in the slide, but I need to tell you is whatever remarks you put here has to go on the bill of lading. Whatever remarks are there on the Mates Receipt have to go on the bill of lading. Once it goes on bill of lading, it becomes official. So this has to be done very carefully in consultation with the charterer or the shipper. कि ये remark डालना चाहते हैं, is it okay or not? Because after all, you are working for both for the charterer and of course for the ship owner. So nothing should go wrong. Now, anything you want to say about it?
सर मैं बोल रहा था कि जैसे ये तो हमने देना है ये नेट रिसिप्ट, इसमें इन्होंने मेंशन नहीं किया, पर जब हम मेंशन करेंगे वो हमें मेंशन करना है ना, जब हम इशू करेंगे सर।
हाँ, क्या
तो सही है,
मेंशन?
जैसे ये जो फिगर इधर लिखी है, जा तो ये नहीं आएगा क्वालिटी अननोन, दैट इज ओके, इन्होंने लिखा है क्वांटिटी आल्सो अननोन, क्वांटिटी तो हम मेंशन कर रहे हैं, इधर हमने मेंशन किया तो हमें लिखना पड़ेगा कहाँ से फिगर आई है ये।
तो इसीलिए मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ कि दिस इज ओनली एन एग्जांपल ऑफ मेट्स रिसीट.
हाँ
if
समझ गया सर।
if somebody is not agreeing, you will have to cancel this remark, right? And
Correct.
maybe you will have to add over here by sure figure, and another figure you put down and say by draft survey. Then also
समझ
it is okay.
समझ गया सर, एग्री।
Then also it is okay. But main thing is that this has to be prepared and issued to the shipper or the charterer. Accordingly, all the remarks will go on the bill of lading. जो remarks आपने यहाँ पे डाले हैं, they will go on the bill of lading. See, bill of lading के function आपने देख लिए 3 है. 1 document of title, 2 contract of carriage, 3 receipt of goods on board. 3 function है, right? एक बहुत important function है bill of lading का, that is to obtain what is called security against bill of lading, which means shipper will mortgage his bill of lading to a bank and bank will furnish him with the security. So a bank may not agree to furnish any kind of financial security for a bill of lading which is claused. अगर उसके ऊपर clauses लगे हैं जो आ रहे हैं Mates Recipt से, तो maybe the bank will refuse. इसके लिए when you actually practically you sail and you will see you are instructed by the charterer and in consultation with master, you will have to issue a clean BL, a clean Mates Recipt, because most of the banks refuse to issue a financial security if the bill of lading is claused. ये पॉइंट समझ में आ गया आपको?
हाँ सर समझ में आ गया सर। एक और बात पूछनी थी
ओके.
चलिए, जहाँ पे हमें अगर इस पे कुछ मेंशन करना है कि कार्गो देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग, कहाँ पे? इधर तो कुछ स्पेस नहीं है, नीचे आ जाए इसके, वी हैव टू मेंशन समथिंग मार्क।
टर्नओवर लीफ, यहाँ पे एक रिमार्क डालो. सुनो मेरी
इधर ही मतलब
अगर
इसी
यही है,
इसी पेज पे
यहाँ पे एक रिमार्क डालो फॉर रिमार्क्स ऑफ कंडीशन ऑफ कार्गो टर्नओवर लीफ.
टर्नओवर
अब डाल दो,
ठीक है।
इसको पलट के डाल दो. Nobody is stopping you. But what you have really not paid attention to is that any remarks you put on this Mates Receipt has to be copied word by word on the bill of lading.
समझ गया सर।
As soon as you copy those remarks to the bill of lading, the bill of lading becomes what is called claused. It becomes a claused bill of lading. It is no longer a clean BL. Then it is possible that a bank may refuse a financial security if the bill of lading is claused. तो इसलिए आप आर्बिट्रेरी नहीं डाल सकते. यू विल नीड टू पुट इट वेरी केयरफुली इन कंसल्टेशन विद योर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट.
ओके सर. सर जैसे अभी सर उसमें जो आपने पेज दिखाया था उस पे लिखा था if you found there is something wrong with the cargo and you need to mention it on a BL or a Mates Receipt, right sir? ये लिखा था उस पे.
ठीक है
सर अभी फॉर एग्जांपल कोई कार्गो है, उसको लेके जाना है और वो लोड हो गया और उसमें आपको कुछ डैमेज मिल जाता है जो आप
एक मिनट सॉरी, ये मैं समझा नहीं. लास्ट पार्ट, कार्गो लेके जाना है, कार्गो डैमेज लोड हो गया.
सर जैसे कुछ भी लगा लीजिए सर, फॉर एग्जांपल कह रहा हूँ मैंने किया, मतलब सर जैसे कुछ कार्गो लोड किया, जैसे BL ऑफ लेडिंग का उस पेज में लिखा था इफ देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग एंड इफ यू वांटेड टू मेक अ रिमार्क यू नीड टू मेंशन इट ओनली ऑन द BL इस पे मेट रिसिप्ट पे, और सेम आपको BL पे कॉपी करना है, राइट सर?
राइट.
ठीक है जी. तो वो क्लीन BL नहीं रहती, वो क्लॉज BL बन जाती है, या जो भी सेपरेट BL.
हाँ, एनी रिमार्क्स विल मेक इट क्लॉज्ड. या
क्लॉज BL. अब सर हमने सर लोडिंग करी, कार्गो लोड हो गया,
हाँ,
ठीक है सर. अब मतलब कुछ भी सर लगा लिया, लेट से कोई टैंकर में तेल ही लोड किया, बाद में उसका टेस्ट होता है या कुछ हुआ और सैंपल्स में कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ गई, ठीक है, बट अब ऑलरेडी लोड हो चुका है.
हाँ.
तो सर वो कार्गो अभी पूरा अनलोड तो किया नहीं जाएगा, उसको लेके जाना ही होगा. तो उसके रिगार्डिंग में ये सिर्फ चार्टर्स वगैरह अपने आप में डिस्कस करके उसको सॉर्ट आउट कर लेंगे, या उस चीज़ को BL के ऊपर मेंशन करना पड़ेगा?
अगेन प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, इट इज ऑल अबाउट मनी. सुनो मेरी
हाँ.
बात, पहले सुन लो,
हाँ सर वो
पहले
तो है
पूरी
ही
बात
सर.
सुन लो मेरी. आई रिक्वेस्ट, 1 मिनट दो मुझे. द होल थिंग सेंटर्स अराउंड मनी. And how does money come? It comes with understanding. It comes with a general consensus of the ship owner and the charterer. they will both work together so that the commercial impact is not there. So they will come to a conclusion whether to clause it or not, whether to include these remarks or not. Maybe I will tell you one thing more. It is possible Mates Recipt में कुछ remarks डाले हुए हैं, and then by understanding it is not copied on bill of lading. It is also possible because it is all about money, understanding between the shipowner, charterer, and the consignee. एक चीज, just remember one thing for lifetime. In shipping, the show must go on. The show doesn't stop. The show must go on. So everybody works towards lesser and lesser or least financial impact, ताकि कोई नुकसान ना हो. For which rules are broken also. This is off the record, but I'm giving you a insight on the practicality.
ठीक है सर. तो सर अभी जैसे फॉर द पेपर पर्पस हमने ये लिखना है ना, तो whatever remarks should be mentioned, whatever remarks are mentioned on a matrix, it needs to be copied on a BL, right sir?
Right, that is the law.
On examination purposes we need to write it, and the
Yeah,
general it can be possible that the some of things are not mentioned in a BL just to avoid insurance claim and everything.
Correct. Which is not going to go in the answer. Please, you had started correctly.
सर हाँ जी सर,
आंसर में तो लिखना ही है. आंसर में तो ये
फॉर एग्जामिनेशन पर्पस के लिए तो वही है सर, वो समझ लो.
But practicality, I will assure you that maybe all the remarks are not copied and they are deliberated and agreed upon between the charterer and the shipowner and conveyed to the vessel कि इसको ऐसे करो. I have had cases where the Mates Recipt remarks have not been copied on the bill of lading, but on the bill of lading, I have seen documented, I have myself signed for remarks C over leave. ठीक है, उसके बाद एक सेपरेट पेज लगा दिया उसमें remarks on BL on Mates Recipt. It has got least meaning. I don't know कि वो पेपर फाड़ दिया गया बाद में, जब बैंक को दिया गया तो वो पेपर प्रेजेंट किया गया कि नहीं किया गया. It is all about the case of keeping the show going on. Money, वो फाइनेंशियल इम्पैक्ट नहीं होना चाहिए. अच्छा, एक बात और है, मैं बता दूं आपको. Normally the ship owner and the charterer are long term allies. उनका कार्गो अप एंड डाउन होता ही रहता है एक दूसरे के साथ, so they are aware of each other. तो जहां तक जहाज की बात है बॉस, तुमसे सारी चीजें मांगेंगे. अरे कार्गो डैमेज था, सेंड द रिपोर्ट, सेंड द फोटोग्राफ, सेंड दिस, सेंड दैट. लेकिन खुद ये कॉफी पीते पीते डिसाइड कर लेंगे, चल ठीक है यार, क्या लगाएगा, चल $10,000 रख ले, चल बंद कर, केस बंद कर. तुमसे ही सब चीजें मांगेंगे. They'll make you run. सारी चीजें ऊपर से टेबल सेटल होती हैं.
वो तो है ही सर. जहाज से तो सब आएगा, जहाज का कुछ गलती होगा तो जहाज का तो सारा आगे सॉर्ट आउट किया जाएगा.
लेकिन एक्चुअली स्पीकिंग, are you aware, चलो it is off the topic but no harm since we are discussing that point. You know something called Lloyd's Coffee House in London? It is actually a place. It is not something hypothetical. It is actually a place. London Coffee House. Sorry, Lloyd's Coffee House. This was a place in 1800 something where firstly the hull and machinery insurance came into being. यहाँ बैठ के डिसाइड हुआ था over a cup of coffee कि ऐसे ऐसे hull and machinery insurance को करना चाहिए.
A lot can happen on a coffee.
ठीक है ना. चलो, anyway, मैंने ये इसलिए लिखा था so that we are sure what I mean. Clause. ये बताओ. हाँ भाई, एक सेकंड मुझे दे दे, फिर बोलियो. Clause. When we say Mates Recipt is clause और bill of lading is clause, ये मतलब है इसका. स्पेलिंग ये है, claused. ठीक है. आप बोलिए प्लीज, कौन बोल रहा था?
सर मैं बोल रहा था अमित सर. जैसे आपने बोला था कि मेट्स रिसीप्ट में अगर कोई रिमार्क होगा, इट हैज टू बी गो ऑन बिल ऑफ lading फॉर श्योर. दैट इज द करेक्ट. तो जैसे अभी आप बता रहे थे, अगर उसमें हम मेट रिसीप्ट में रिमार्क डालते हैं एंड वी डोंट पुट इन बिल ऑफ lading, सो बोथ इनवैलिड हो जाएगा.
नहीं. Finally it is bill of lading which counts. Mates Recipt is only a interim document. Mates Recipt की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. Means what? In a case, in a court case, Mates Recipt is only serving two purposes. Number one, receipt of cargo on board. Number two, quantity of cargo received. It is not a document of title. Mates Recipt. It is not a document of title. Bill of lading is a document of title. Mates Recipt is only issued as an interim document till a proper BL has been issued, and Mates Recipt will only serve as a purpose of receipt of cargo on board and contract of carriage, but it will not be a document of title. This is the difference between them.
सर मेट रिसिप्ट तो हम इशू कर देंगे, बिल ऑफ लेडिंग
Bill of lading is drawn up by the shipper and presented to the vessel owner, which is master, to sign that everything has been agreed upon.
ठीक है सर,
ठीक है?
हाँ ठीक है सर.
Okay. Think about it. No harm. Don't worry. We are still on the job. We are still on the topic. And what we do is we take a small break. We Kit Kat break. We come back and meet at 15:45 and continue. Okay.
ओके.
Okay.
थैंक यू.
सर कुछ अनोनिमस सी आवाज आ रही है, प्लीज म्यूट कर देंगे सर सबको एक बार।
ओके ओके।
सर ये सिलेबस देख रहा था, वो आपने ग्रीन किया है, उसमें वो चार्टर पार्टी हुआ नहीं है अपना।
शिवांग, डिड वी क्लोज द सेशन?
नहीं सर, वो आपने ग्रीन किया तो मेरे को लगा आपने क्लोज कर दिया, दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड।
Okay, just to bring you updated, we are still continuing our discussion. Have patience. You will raise the issue when I say the session is done. Then you can raise it. अभी हम लोग still बात कर रहे हैं इसके बारे में. Now there is an issue regarding some noise. Actually, if everybody mutes himself, it will solve the problem. Is the noise still there?
Yes sir, it looks like a Skype call, like when the Skype call comes like that way.
From some candidate, is it? So I can only request everyone to mute themselves in case it is causing disturbance. Anyway, let's hope things will get resolved.
हाँ सर, एक बात
हाँ जी बोलिए।
सर, आपने बोला बिल ऑफ लेडिंग मेड।
हाँ जी बोलिए। Unmute and talk. AK Amit Kumar, I think. Unmute and talk.
हाँ सर, वो बिल ऑफ लेडिंग शिपर बनाता है किसके नाम पे सर?
किसके नाम पे?
हाँ सर,
वेसल के नाम पे?
ऑन द नेम ऑफ वेसल।
Yes. एक मिनट रुको. Can you see the shared screen, Amit?
हाँ सर।
Right. So read this. Legal document between the shipper of a particular cargo and the carrier, which contains the details of type, quantity, and destination of the cargo being carried. This
ठीक
is
है
bill
सर।
of.
सर उसके बाद ये आफ्टर ये बिल ऑफ लेडिंग इज जनरेटेड और मेड, इट सेंड बैक टू द वेसल फॉर द सिग्नेचर ऑफ मास्टर, करेक्ट सर?
Yes, yes, yes.
सर अगर बिल ऑफ लेडिंग और उसमें जैसे हमने मेट रिसिप्ट में एनी हाउ कुछ रिमार्क डाला है, आफ्टर दैट बिल ऑफ लेडिंग इज सपोज टू कम विद दैट रिमार्क, अगर वो नहीं आता तो ये कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट कर सकते हैं ना?
See, bill of lading, if it is signed by the shipper and ship master or the cargo, ship owner, then it is final. That is it. It has been agreed that this is the bill of lading.
तो सर वो तो ऑन द बिहाफ ऑफ मेट रिसिप्ट ही बनेगा ना। सपोज वी मेड अ रिमार्क ऑन मेट रिसिप्ट सो एंड सो दिस कार्गो वाज दिस एंड दिस, कुछ हमने रिमार्क डाला है एनी हाउ, आफ्टर दैट वी रिसीव अ बिल ऑफ लेडिंग that finally it's supposed to be signed by the master. We received a bill of lading. On that bill of lading there was no remark from the mates receipt.
Okay.
So we are not supposed to sign. Like captain is supposed to sign, then we can neglect to ignore not to sign that document.
See, it is easier said than done.
नहीं, मैं सर ऑफिशियल आपके थ्योरेटिकल पर्पस के लिए पूछ रहा हूँ। प्रैक्टिकल तो जो होता है नहीं होता, उससे तो काफी इश्यूज आ जाएंगे, वो अलग चीज है सर। अपने
Okay.
नॉलेज पर्पस के लिए पूछ रहा हूँ सर।
नॉलेज पर्पस के लिए ऐसा है कि द लॉ सेज कि जो रिमार्क्स मेड रिसीट पे हैं, द सेम रिमार्क्स should be claused on the bill of lading. This is academically. But practically speaking, it is an agreement between the shipper and the vessel owner of the vessel. Maybe they will agree कि अच्छा चलो छोड़ो, don't put the remarks, which has a commercial impact. This is practical. Academically, the remarks put on the maid receipt should be claused on the bill of lading also.
या ये ठीक है सर, एग्री, बट हमने ऑन दैट ऑन शिप साइड वी मेड अ रिमार्क ऑन मेड रिसिप्ट, बट फर्दर वी डिड नॉट रिसीव द रिमार्क फ्रॉम दैट bill of lading, so it is a closed bill of lading. So after that it will come on the vessel to sign by the master. तो वो दोनों कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो मास्टर साइन करेगा कि नहीं करेगा?
He can refuse.
ठीक है,
But he can also prepare his air ticket.
वो तो सर अलग चीज है, वो तो
फिर आप
बहुत
आप
कुछ।
mix करो ना, मिक्स मत करो ना प्लीज।
नहीं सर, मैं डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के लिए पूछ रहा हूँ ना सर, एक्चुअली अगर
आपने whoever is talking, please, आपने पहला बोला कि प्रैक्टिकली और एकेडमिकली दोनों बताओ। एकेडमिकली इट शुड गो ऑन द बिल ऑफ lading, प्रैक्टिकली इट कैन बी इग्नोर्ड एंड इट इज इग्नोर्ड। फिर हमने ब्रेक से पहले भी बात की थी किसी और के साथ में कि रियली स्पीकिंग आपके आंसर में ये लिखा होना चाहिए कि द क्लॉज बिल ऑफ lading विल कंटेन ऑल द रिमार्क्स व्हिच आर कैप्चर्ड इन द Mates Receipt। बात खत्म। दैट इज एज फार एज द आंसर इज कंसर्न। ठीक है,
ठीक है सर, ठीक।
ओके। नाउ आई एम सेइंग कि एक क्वेश्चन जो आता रहता है वो ये होता है कि व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन बिल ऑफ lading एंड Mates Receipt। ये क्वेश्चन आ चुका है। सो वी हैव अंडरस्टूड बोथ। Mates Receipt क्या है, बिल ऑफ lading क्या है, वी हैव अंडरस्टूड। लेट अस टॉक अबाउट द डिफरेंस बिटवीन देम, which is a question which figures enumerate the difference between Mates Receipt and bill of lading। तो पहला पॉइंट उसमें होगा कि Mates Receipt is an interim document। Mates Receipt is an interim document। This is a document issued when the cargo is received for carriage। It can be issued directly by the ship or by the ship's agent। It is the first evidence that the cargo has been received। That is the purpose of the Mates Receipt। It is the first evidence that the cargo has been received। This will contain, the Mates Receipt will contain quantity of cargo and any identifying remarks and the apparent condition। This will be contained in the Mates Receipt, as we had seen in the example we looked at, right? और एक नॉर्मल रिमार्क है Mates Receipt पे, cargo loaded in apparent good condition। apparent good condition, this is a very normal remark। non-committal, you are not saying very good condition, you are not saying bad condition, you are just mentioning in apparent good condition। this is a very normal remark on the Mates Receipt। Now this can be issued directly by the vessel, the Mates Receipt, or can be issued by the vessel agent also। This is also possible। Now when we talk of the bill of lading, this is a legal document, this is not Mates Receipt, this is a legal document between the shipper of the particular cargo and the carrier। It will contain the details and also the destination of the cargo being carried। The bill of lading is also a receipt of document, but it also serves other two purposes। One, it is a evidence of contract of carriage, and two, it is document of title, which Mates Receipt is not। Mates Receipt is only evidencing that some cargo has been shipped on board, but it is not a document of title, while bill of lading is a document of title also। These are differences we are talking about between Mates Receipt and bill of lading। Now the Mates Receipt will be issued by the first mate of the ship, or it could be issued by another mate of the ship, that is not very vital, but normally issued by the chief officer। Now this is issued only after the cargo has been tallied by the tally clerks। You understand tally clerks? This will figure in break bulk, tally clerks। How do you ascertain that this cargo has been shipped? By the evidence that this cargo has been tallied। टैली करके इशू होगा ये। Now, one another difference is bill of lading is to be signed by the master of the vessel only, but Mates Receipt can be signed by vessel's mate or second officer or certified officer। This is another difference। But bill of lading has to be signed by the master। Having said that, practically, let me assure you, there is one more clause here. Bill of lading are produced to sign at the last moment to continue for early departure procedure (EDP). It is possible that bill of lading can be authorized by master to be signed by the agent on his behalf, so that the vessel can continue departure procedure. Practically, Instead of signing himself, the master may authorize the agent to sign on his behalf, for which he has to give a letter of authorization to the agent. ठीक है जी. This is the difference between Mates Recipt and bill of lading. Now, when you talk of Mates Recipt and the remarks to go on it, and they become important when you are loading brake bulk. So let us say you are loading steel cargo. The steel cargo is wrapped. It's packaged. Packaged, outer covers are there for the steel cargo. Maybe in guni bags or something, there are covers. Now, when you close such a Mates Recipt, if you say 10% of the outer wrapper torn, this is not a good remark. You must mention the number of packages which are not correctly packed. If you are going to say outer cover wrap, outer wrapper torn, you must mention the number. So if you are loading 100 units, let us say, with outer wrappers, and if you have estimated that 10% of the wrappers are torn, then you should mention either you say 9 wrappers torn, or you have mentioned 11 wrappers torn or 13 wrappers torn, so that it looks authentic. This is practical. This is practical thing I'm talking about. Do not mention by percentage, mention by the number of packs. That looks more authentic. You get my point? Another remark I'll tell you. Let us say we are talking about loading steel cargo only, and the steel cargo is being loaded using ship's gear. The cargo is coming alongside in open trailers. Alongside the vessel, the cargo is arriving from the warehouse somewhere else in open trailers. So a remark can go on the Mates Recipt. Cargo arrived for loading alongside the vessel in open trailers exposed to weather. This is a remark which can go on Mates Recipt, because you are saying that weather could have affected the cargo while it was being carried from the warehouse to the ship on open trailers. Right? अब बोलिए, anything somebody wanted to say? No issue with me. Till this part I'm done. I will go to charter now. As mentioned by someone, it is included in the syllabus, so we need to talk about charters. इसके before I go to that, anything you want to raise so far? Mates Recipt, bill of lading, note of protest, letter of protest, bill of lading, something. Purpose of bill of lading is clearly understood. See, हाँ जी बोलिए. Do we have a class tomorrow also? मैं देखा नहीं टाइम टेबल. Do we have a cargo work class tomorrow also?
Yes sir, 4 lectures.
Sorry?
4 lectures sir, 4 lectures.
2 सुबह के?
2 सुबह के, 2 शाम के.
आवाज ही नहीं आ रही चेतन. 1 मिनट तो मैं खुद ही
सर 2 सुबह 2 शाम.
2 है. देख लेता हूँ 1 मिनट.
टोटल वो
सर टोटल
2 सुबह 2 शाम को है.
शाम के 2.
ट्वेंटी फोर्थ आज हो गया. 25th में yeah, cargo is 2 lectures right in the morning and then 2 late in the afternoon, so we have 4 of them. Very good. So cargo morning 9 o'clock. Okay, 9 o'clock. Okay, अब बोलिए, anything you want to raise or we move on? Okay, since you are interested in the term charter parties, let's have a look at that also. Share screen is possible. So when you talk of charter party, it is basically a contract, just a contract. Contract by which the owner of the vessel lets it out to another one who is called the charterer to use his vessel for transporting cargo. The ship owner will continue to control the navigation management, but carrying capacity is engaged by the charterer. So he lets out the vessel, the ship owner, to another entity, separate entity, a party which is called the charterer. And this contract which is signed between both of them is called the charter party. Okay. Somebody address this. Let me recall. शिवांग, are you listening? आपका इशू था ये?
सर इशू नहीं था, बस बताया था आपने, वो ग्रीन कर दिया तो पढ़ाना है, तो मेरे बस ये था, इशू क्या था इसमें?
Okay. So first thing, charter party. It's a contract between the ship owner and the party who is chartering the vessel. They will sign a contract. Now, there are four principal chartering parties, charter parties, four principal ones. Even beyond this there are, but we are not going to go into it. Basic charter parties are known as voyage charter, time charter, bareboat charter, and lump sum contract. These are the basic four principal methods of chartering: voyage charter, time charter, bareboat charter, and lump sum contract. These are the four basic ones. You may have other ones, but not really under our purview. So, when you talk of voyage charter, it is the most common one. As the name suggests, it is a method for which the ship is chartered for between two specific ports with a specified cargo at the negotiated rate of freight. So, between two ports, if you sign a contract to charter the vessel, it will be called a voyage charter, and then it will be at a fixed premium or fixed rate, freight rate. That is, as the name suggests, voyage charter. You, on the other hand, you could have a time charter, which means charterer hires the ship for a stated period of time. Time period is mentioned here. It could be one way or it could be a round trip. If it is a round trip, you will clearly understand, let us say from point A to point B, round trip charter. Time charter, round trip, which means from point A you load something, you discharge at point B, and then you are at liberty. The charterer is at liberty to load again at point B and discharge at point A, round trip. And it will be called a time charter. Now this could be, in terms of how many tons dead weight per month, or it could be how many tons loaded. The terms can be different from one charter party to another, but it will be decided whether it is a time charter for a period of time, one way or a round trip. On a time charter, there is only one difference apart from voyage charter, that on time charter, the charterer bears the cost of bunkers and stores. While in voyage charter, all these costs are going to the ship owner. But in a time charter, all these costs of bunkers and stores are at the charterer's expenses. He bears the expenses. A less frequently used charter is the bareboat charter, for which the charterer is let out the ship by the ship owner for a given period. He is given out the ship to the bareboat charterer without crew, stores, insurance, etc. All this will fall back on the bareboat charterer. He does that. Or it could be on lump sum, which means the owner agrees to ship a given quantity of stated cargo in point A to point B for an agreed sum of money, lump sum payment. These are different ways how to hire the ship, different charter parties. Then there are terms used in charter party which will not figure now, which will figure in phase 2. What is lay-can period, damage, dispatch, etc. But this is not in our syllabus, this is not under our review. As far as phase 1 thing is concerned for cargo work, this is more than enough. The charter parties, the introduction to charter parties is more than enough.
सर आप इसके भी नोट्स डाल दो ना वो ड्राइव पे लेटर ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट कंप्लीट
किसके?
सर ये लेटर ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट और बिल ऑफ लीडिंग
ओके, आई थिंक वो डाला हुआ है, देखो जरा चेक करो लिंक पे। आई थिंक क्या हुआ है,
देख लेते हैं सर, शायद नहीं
नहीं
डाला,
है,
कंफर्म
नहीं
करके
है।
बता देता हूँ।
टेल मी अगर नहीं है तो। मेरा ख्याल था कि मैंने डाला है, बट यू कैन कंफर्म। हाँ जी, नहीं है उसमें।
नहीं है सर, डाल दो।
अच्छा, नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट वाली स्लाइड्स नहीं है।
नहीं,
गिव मी अ मिनट, maybe I'm making a mistake, just give me a minute. ओके, ये नहीं है, लेट मी कंफर्म। मेरे ख्याल से मैंने डाला था, तो गिव मी अ मिनट। नोट्स फेज 1 हेवी लिफ्ट कार्गो है, हेवी लिफ्ट कार्गो है, ठीक है। अच्छा नहीं है, ठीक है, यू आर राइट। लिंक तो है ना आपके पास?
हाँ सर लिंक है।
ओके,
यस सर।
पहली चीज हो गई एनओसी एक्सेट्रा। कार्गो डॉक्यूमेंट भी डाल देता हूँ विच इज टेलिंग यू अबाउट दिस। इसके अलावा वी हैव टू गो फॉर नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट वाली फाइल। लोग अभी मिलता है क्या नोट ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट और कार्गो डॉक्यूमेंट्स? हाँ जी, कैन समबडी ओपन द लिंक, चेक इट आउट?
हाँ सर मिल रहा है।
मिल रहा है ना? बस ठीक
हाँ
है,
सर।
ठीक है, डन है, जॉब डन है। So this part is also done. Then we move on. Time है अपने पास, we can move on. Before I go further, anything you want to raise for this one till now? Anything coming to your mind?
तो सर कुछ पढ़ लेंगे सर, पढ़ लेंगे एक बार, कुछ डाउट हुआ तो पूछ लेंगे सर।
हाँ हाँ, कोई बात नहीं, of course, most welcome. So we move on to another cargo which is good. I mean, to not to waste time, which is called DRI, directly reduced iron. Also cargo included in your question paper. So what is DRI? पहली चीज ये, what is DRI? Direct reduced iron. Heard about it? Anybody experienced with loading of this cargo? Direct reduced iron. Trade names will be many trade names, but when we talk of the actual term or the technical name, it is called DRI. This is actually not iron ore. It is not iron ore, but type of refined iron ore, DRI, directly reduced iron. There is a reason why it is called directly reduced iron, which we are going to talk about, but it is a generic term. But trade names can be many. However, as you are aware, IMSBC, the International Maritime Solid Bulk Code, fines, pellicies. They are different type of cargo, iron ore fines. So there are three types actually: A, B, and C. DRI-A, DRI-B, and DRI-C. Having said that, it's a good thing to have a look at how it appears by visual. This is DRI-A. Can you see the share screen, candidates? This is DRI-A. Lump. Briquettes, hot molded like lump. This is DRI-A. When you have lumps in pellets, cold molded, this is DRI-B. Bravo. Second frame. Or you could have byproduct fines, very small powder like thing, which is called DRI-C. This one. Now, main problem, potential hazard, is during carriage, and DRI Bravo, this one, is the most reactive, and actually most reactive and hence potentially most dangerous. DRI-B. There is nothing called safe DRI, but because DRI-C cargo contains very little metallic iron, hence it could be regarded as safe. But definitely they got a potential hazard, which we are going to talk about. What is the potential hazard with carriage of DRI? We say the proper name is direct reduced iron. What is that direct reduced iron? It is the iron from which oxygen has been forcefully reduced by direct reduction. Therefore, since it is iron also, it will have a potency or it will have an affinity towards oxygen. Now, when the cargo tries to interact with oxygen of atmosphere, it releases some potential gas which is hydrogen. This makes it dangerous. So how it is done? It is a product, DRI, produced by the direct reduction of iron ore by using non-coking coal or natural gas is the process for reducing or direct reduced iron production. Reducing agents are carbon monoxide and hydrogen coming from the reformed natural gas. Iron ore is mostly used in pellets in lumpy form. Oxygen is removed from the iron ore by chemical reaction. This is the production of DRI. Oxygen is forcefully or chemically removed from the iron ore by chemical reaction, and then this is called direct reduced iron. Because the oxygen has been removed from it, it is called a direct reduced iron. So the direct reduction process does what? Solid metallic iron, Fe, which is a chemical term or the symbol, obtained directly from solid iron ore without subjecting the ore to metal or fusion. Therefore, a reduction is caused in the solid state, O2 potentials are removed out of it, and now what you have is a directly reduced iron, DRI. Because it is only being done in solid state, there is no chance or very little chance of the elements dissolving at low temperatures. So the oxides which are more stable than iron remain essentially unreduced. But the ion is reduced. That is why it's called DRI. So it is called DRI because it is produced by removing O2 from iron ore. That's the process of removing oxygen from the iron ore and resulting in what is called DRI. Because the oxygen has been removed and we are looking at iron which has an affinity to absorb oxygen now. So if the cargo compartment contains DRI, which is reduced iron ore, now this will have affinity for oxygen because it has been forcefully removed, then it will absorb oxygen from the atmosphere, resulting in a dangerous atmosphere of oxygen depletion. Oxygen depletion means no poisonous gas, but oxygen content itself of the atmosphere is reduced. Therefore, it becomes a dangerous atmosphere because of low levels of oxygen. Are you with me, gentlemen? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is what IMSBC describes for DRI. It says it has a column. The cargo name is direct reduced iron part A or A variety. It describes it as briquettes hot molded. And it goes on to say, you are aware of this IMSBC code, International Maritime Solid Bulk Code. You are aware of this? Seen the book?
Yes,
This is
sir.
another very,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
sorry,
Seen.
say
देखा
again.
है। Yes, sir.
देखा है
देखा
ना?
हुआ देखा हुआ। हाँ जी हाँ जी।
ये भी एक बड़ा लेंथी टॉपिक है इन द
सर ये
कोर्स।
बहुत बड़ा टॉपिक है सर। IMSBC तो बहुत ही बड़ा है।
आएगा, मतलब वी आर गोइंग टू डू इट।
बल्कि कार्गोज में तो सर यही है सबसे ज़्यादा।
हाँ यही है, घूम फिर के यही है। So what I'm saying is, this code describes DRI part A like this: metallic gray material molded in briquette form, emanating from densification process, whereby direct reduced iron is molded at a temperature greater than 650 degrees Celsius and has a density greater than 5000 kg per metric cube. This is a description from IMSBC for DRI part A.
हाँ सर। तो सॉरी टू डिस्टर्ब सर। सर अभी पेपर में इसके ऊपर लाइक क्वेश्चन कुछ आता है, लाइक कैसे आता है इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन अगर
देखो,
आएगा तो?
who is saying so? एक मिनट, I want to talk directly to you. Apart from interacting in class, कौन बोल रहा है?
चेतन सर। चेतन सर।
Chetan. Chetan, if you will recall, I had said on the first day itself कि more or less question in cargo work is generic. The cargo may be different. Cargo may be DRI, cargo may be steel cargo may be something else, grain cargo may be coal cargo, or cargo may be heavy lift cargo. But more or less the question is generic. What are the potential hazards, danger involved in planning, loading, carriage and discharge of falling cargo, which may be DRI, which may be HBI, which may be coal, which may be grain, वो almost same question,
सेम ही है
लेकिन
सर।
it talks about potential hazards and dangers involved in planning, storage, carriage and discharge of this cargo.
ठीक है सर। उसकी पूरी पैसेज प्लानिंग लिखवानी है बेसिकली।
इसका पूरा क्या, सॉरी?
तो जैसे पैसेज प्लानिंग के स्टेप्स होते हैं इसमें वो स्टोरेज, सिक्योरिंग, फाइनल और डिस्चार्ज पोर्ट तक जाने का वो बताना है
Correct,
बेसिकली।
correct. So certain points you will have to keep in mind or maybe note down that these are the potential hazards. अभी हमने शुरू किया है, there are hazards involved, we will talk about that. But firstly we are just having an introduction कि है क्या direct reduced iron. So part A is something which is addressed as metallic gray material molded in briquette form. हमने फोटो देख लिया था. To recall, we can go back just a minute just to see that we are very sure of what we are doing. This is direct reduced iron part A, molded briquette. molded hot briquette, hot molded briquette rather, not hot briquette, hot molded briquette. ये वाला. This is part A. The type is A. So we continue. इसमें एक point है. This is a point which you have to mention that when you look at this type of cargo, type A, fines and small particles which have been described as particles under 6.35 mm shall not exceed 5% by weight. This is a requirement. This is a requirement of carriage. This is a precaution. Fines and small particles described as size under 6.35 mm shall not exceed 5% by weight of that cargo, which means अगर तुम 100 टन TRI पार्ट ए लोड कर रहे हो तो जो fines and small particles हैं under 6.35 mm will not exceed 5 tons by weight. It has to be less than that. Just to give you update, this has to be declared by the shipper. It has to come in MSDS. Suppose you are loading DRI part A, as cargo, then you have a MSDS to be supplied by the shipper. He has to declare that fines and small particles are not more than 5% by weight. Either he says this or he mentions the quantity. Like I said, if you are loading 100 tons, he has to write that fines and small particles are not more than 5 tons. This is a requirement for carriage. This is a precaution for any DRI to be carried. We will see why. But this is one precaution you have to keep in mind. So another problem, if I can use the word problem, is that self-heating of the cargo can take place after the material is handled in bulk, and once the cargo comes in contact with water, moisture, especially saline water being salt water, it evolves or gives out hydrogen by chemical reaction. Hydrogen, of course, you are aware from pre-chemistry days that it is a flammable gas and can form an explosive mixture when mixed with air. So this is, going to give rise to a precaution of fire, because if the DRI cargo comes in contact with water or saline water more, then it will give out hydrogen, which is a flammable gas. This forms an explosive mixture, and not only that, because the cargo itself has an affinity for oxygen, because you see it is iron from which oxygen has been removed, so it has an affinity for oxygen. As soon as it sees, if I can use the word sees oxygen, it will have a tendency to absorb oxygen, then it will cause oxygen depletion. Cargo itself is non-combustible, please understand. Cargo you cannot ignite. Cargo is non-combustible, has low fire risk, but because it is evolving hydrogen, it becomes a dangerous issue. Hydrogen is flammable. Not only that, once it is giving out hydrogen, has come into contact with saline water or salt water or maybe even water, his temperature rises by about 30 degrees Celsius due to self-heating. So self-heating is another precaution or problem which you need to note, which you need to keep in mind. Self-heating. Now this is another precaution which you need to note and maybe keep in mind. Since it is a class, it has to be separated from class 1 division. 2, 3 and 4 and 5. It has to be separated from cargo of class 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 as per the IMDG code. Also separated from solid bulk material of classes 4 and 5. Of course, this is something which is coming from the code itself. Nothing, you have to remember it. That is all I can say. You have to remember it for writing the exam. The stowage. Precaution for stowage means DRI to be separated from cargo of class 1, division 1.4s, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in class 8 assets.
सर एक बार स्लाइड ऊपर करेंगे सर.
एक मिनट. Yes, why not? Just a minute. हाँ जी. और ऊपर.
नहीं सर बस थोड़ा बस.
सर इसके बाद चेतन का हो जाए तो एक बार इससे ऊपर वाली स्लाइड भी प्लीज शो करना.
ओके जी. ओके. नो प्रॉब्लम.
मेरा हो गया सर.
ओके. हाँ जी. ये वाली बोल रहे हैं आप.
सर यू कैन स्क्रॉल डाउन. मैंने स्क्रीनशॉट ले लिया.
Okay. Now, because as we said, the cargo can react with water, has affinity for reacting, and then self-heating. This cargo should be resistant. The boundaries of this compartment where this cargo is being carried should be resistant to fire and passage of liquid, so that there is no chance of mixing with water and giving out hydrogen, which is flammable. So the boundaries of the compartment where this cargo is being carried should be resistant to fire and passage of water, liquid. Now this is a precaution you have to take. You can list it out as a precaution. Okay, hold cleanliness, yes. There is an issue regarding this one because the hold spaces should be free from salt and residues of previous cargo, dry and free, and any wooden fixtures, battens, loose debris, etc. is to be removed because if this hydrogen evolved does catch fire, this will contribute towards fire. So all loose dunnage, wooden fixtures, combustible materials, etc. has to be removed from the cargo compartment. Yeah, okay. Gentlemen, sorry, candidates, please try to understand. Just I wanted to show you the write-up about DRI in IMSBC also. This is IMSBC as we are looking at, and you can see it talks about direct reduced iron, briquettes hot molded. This is a description given in IMSBC code. So obviously you are supposed, this is a Bible for cargo. You are supposed to follow it. It tells you everything. Angle of repose, bulk density, storage factor, and the MSDS is supposed to be based on this, right? Even IMSBC code talks about the evolution of hydrogen after contact with water, notably saline water. The cargo itself is non-combustible. We have talked about it. Storage and segregation, it is there in the slide also, right? So just a issue that everything correlates with IMSBC also. So far so good. Anything you want to raise for this session? Because I don't want to rush through. We got classes tomorrow also. We can catch up so that you absorb something and then we can talk about it. You're going to read through whatever we are sharing so that you can have some question ready tomorrow, right? Anything you want to say something for this session? Of course, DRI has just started. We have just started the discussion on DRI. This is going to take time. It is not going to be. Shashipal says yes for what? Shashipal, you say yes for what? Tell me.
सर वो मैसेज देखा पहले वो मैसेज भेजा था आपने उसके लिए
यार वो क्वेश्चन तो डाल लेने दे क्वेश्चन गया 1645 पे यस आ गया 1642 पे जवाहरलाल भी कह रहे यस then we will meet again tomorrow morning and then continue with DRI. You may respond to the chat box. That will take care of this session unless you have something to raise.